The 47th French Grand Prix was held at the fast Reims circuit. It was the 4th Grand Prix of the year. Moss had driven the race of his life to win at Monaco, but the much more powerful Ferraris had completely dominated the subsequent Dutch and Belgian Grand Prix, Von Trips winning at Zandvoort and Phil Hill at Spa. Rob Walker's Lotus, entered for Stirling Moss, consisted of last year's Lotus 18, its chassis updated with this year's rear suspension, a 5-speed Colotti gearbox and new bodywork. The Porsches were to be driven by Swede Joe Bonnier, Dan Gurney from California, and the amateur Dutchman Carol de Beaufort. Clark and Ireland were entered in the works Lotuses. The Yeoman Credit team, with manager Reg Parnell and drivers Surtees and Salvadori, had the latest Coopers, one running on SU carburetors instead of the usual Vapors. The grandstands give a good view of the pits and main straight, as well as to the more distant parts of the circuit. John Surtees went out in the training car. Times in T cars were not recognized by the timekeepers. The Ferrari team had entered 4 of its Dino 156s with their distinctive twin nostril air intakes. 3 of the cars had the new 120-degree V6, the 4th the older 60-degree unit. Either way, they had a lot of power in hand over the 4-cylinder Coventry Climax engine. The 3 main team drivers were Phil Hill, Richie Ginther and Taffy Von Trips. The 4th car was entered by a group of Italian motor racing clubs to promote young Italian talent, but it was effectively a works car. It was to be driven by the young Italian Giancarlo Baghetti. Baghetti from Milan has only driven in 2 Formula One races before now, and he's won them both, non-championship events at Syracuse and Naples. Unsurprisingly, the Ferraris set the pace on the first day of practice. Moss set a very fast time by slipstreaming Von Trips. Stirling then came back in, and on his way gave the Ferrari team a Churchillian gesture. He had set a time which would have been impossible without their help. Ferrari team manager Tavoni then pulled Baghetti in to prevent the other Coventry Climax engine cars doing the same thing. This circuit, over public roads near Reims, sweeps across the cornfields for a lap distance of a little over 5 miles. It is extremely fast, with average lap speeds of over 125 miles per hour. When it comes to racing cars, the French really do have a wonderfully laissez-faire attitude to motoring law, and I spotted John Surtees driving his Formula One Cooper through town and out to the circuit. The last practice session was held on Friday evening. It was still scorchingly hot. Rob and Stirling tried to keep out of the sun. At Muison, a Lola Formula Junior car had to be rescued by the marshals before Grand Prix qualifying could begin. Then the Grand Prix cars set out on their final qualifying runs. Von Trips was being followed by pupil Baghetti, the Ferrari V6 engines sounding much better than the Coventry Climaxes. Stirling went out, but he was not really trying, as he knew that his artificial slipstream time could not be bettered. All the climax engine cars were trying to follow the Ferraris, but by now this tactic had been rumbled, and the Ferraris would back off or pit to prevent aiding their competition. The BRMs, Coopers and Lotuses were all lapping around the 2 minutes 30 seconds mark.